some Oregon Ducks recruiting. Steve, take us behind the scenes. How does Tank Jones go from the number one player in the state of Alabama to committing to the Oregon Ducks and continuing to play his college career in Eugene?
Well, I think it starts with the connection he built with Dan Lanning and Tosh Lupoy and the trust he has in those coaches to get the best out of them and put him in best position to hear his name called high in the NFL draft. The guys that Coach Lanning and Coach Lupoy have been around historically with their time, certainly at Oregon, but Coach Lanning at Georgia and Alabama, Coach Lupoy at Alabama, and some of the stops he's had over his long career. He's been in the NFL. Those are the guys he believes in to get it out of him. He connected with those guys, built a good rapport with them, trusts those guys. Certainly, you don't win this kind of recruiting battle without being heavily armed on the NIL front. I think Anthony Tank Jones is someone that is getting a deal worth over $1 million for his first season. So I think that certainly Oregon, Texas A&M, Alabama, all battled on that front. And then where Oregon's at as a program, he also talked to me about this recruiting class and said, I think we can get Oregon closer to that first national championship that they covet. And so I think he's excited to get there and help continue building this program up. Maybe they win the national title this year and he helps them run it back as a true freshman, just program stability, defensive end, edge rusher track record, connection with the staff, vibe in Eugene. This is where he wanted to go. And I think Oregon then had to check the boxes from an NIL front, and they were able to do that. And how about this, Josh? A secret visit to Oregon in the spring. Not so much a secret visit because Max Torres reported the visit, but then it was refuted like he didn't go. And I think that was because, there was a reason. Everyone has their reasons going through this recruiting process. But that was when my antenna really went up on Oregon. Texas A&M did a great job recruiting him. Alabama, the new staff, he said they had to make up ground during the coaching change, but did that. And certainly those programs gave him a lot to think about. And he gave Alabama and Texas A&M reasons to be optimistic down the stretch in their recruitment. But Oregon was the one that came on strong, definitely going back to the spring. And now he's one of the jewels of this class that has a chance to be ranked number 3 by rivals by the end of the weekend.
Really, a really big pickup. Oregon starts the month with a 5-star in Emmanuel Iheanacho. They end the month with Tank Jones committing. Steve, is August setting up to be another big recruiting week or month for Oregon?
Yeah, I can't believe we're turning the calendar to August tomorrow, Josh. This year is flying by, and this 2026 recruiting cycle is coming to a finish, but we have one more big weekend, and the Ducks are already off and running because I count Thursday as the weekend. I always have. That's when the pitcher specials were. That's when the pool tables were the cheapest, and you get started right on Thursday nights. But Oregon ripping and roaring, going into the weekend. Devon Benjamin's going to announce his college decision right here on the Rivals YouTube page on Saturday night. Oregon, Michigan, Texas, some of the finalists. Oregon's always been considered the front runner. Other programs have challenged in this recruitment, but he's always felt at home at Oregon. Coach Hampton, Coach Lanning, Coach Lupoy, that staff, where they're at, the way they develop defensive backs, whether it's from the transfer portal or guys they landed from the high school ranks. I like where Oregon stands for Devon Benjamin. Can they get Deuce Gerald's in the fold? Also one that we are expected to host on the Rivals YouTube page this Saturday around 4:30 p.m. Eastern. Deuce Gerald's is going to announce his college decision. Oregon is the Rivals prediction,
right?
But LSU giving Oregon a run for their money down the stretch. But right now I have the prediction for Oregon for both of them. If they land on both, they will be ranked in the top 3 on the Rivals rankings, and then they go into spatula season. They'll look to flip a wideout. They'll look to flip a defensive lineman. They'll continue to evaluate senior tape. This isn't a huge class right now, but it's extremely talented. Tank Jones joining Kendry Harrison and Manny Iheanacho as 5 stars in the fold. This is another class that will keep Oregon in the national title discussion for years to come.
Steve, haters will say that they bought this class, but I'm here to provide some balance because if you're going to say Oregon bought this class, then how do you explain missing on Jackson Cantwell? How do you explain missing on Jared Curtis, missing on Chris Henry Jr.? There's been a lot of guys that Oregon has not gotten for various reasons, maybe not because of NIL, but What is it about this Oregon staff? Because, Steve, when the money's equal on both sides, it comes back down to recruiting.
Well, it's such a cheap and lazy take, and that's just what bitter diehard fans say when they lose a recruiting battle. Oh, they bought him, and certainly there are times where Oregon shows up to the gunfight with a bazooka because they can, and no one should ever apologize for that. And when there's a report by Pete Nakos that insiders say Texas spent the most money on their football roster, I'd stand proud and tall in Austin because there's no salary cap going into this season. Now they're trying to have a salary cap with rev share. But my point is that there are times where Oregon can flex the biggest muscles from a financial package standpoint, but never is there a time where they're out recruited. Dan Lanning is as engaged a head football coach as there is in the country on the recruiting trail, building meaningful, genuine relationships with top targets, their families, their representatives, their trainers, whoever it is. And he enjoys doing it. He always has, going back to his time at Georgia, recruiting guys like Malachi Starks to beat Clemson for the Bulldogs. Yep. He is now at Oregon, leading the charge on the trail, planting flags. Tosh Lupoy has always been one of the best recruiters in the country too, someone that's just relentless. And then these guys have a track record of development. Look, these guys that they're recruiting want to play at the highest level. And Oregon is a place where they feel like they can be first-round draft picks, play in the biggest games, play for championships, and be prepared to be Sunday guys because of who Lanning, Tosh Lupoy have coached in the past. And so that's what Tank Jones bought into. I think that, as you continue to unpack this recruitment and more things become clear, Oregon's the program he wanted to go to. I think they had to get some things right from the NIL front. I think that was a very competitive conversation as well, because I think he was incredibly important to Texas A&M and Alabama as well. But Oregon got it done on all fronts and just landed one of the best pass rushing prospects in America.
And after having a mini slump in recruiting at the end of May into early June, Oregon really hitting its stride here at the end of summer. I have a feeling at number 6 right now, we could be talking about a top 3 class, maybe even by the end of the weekend. Oregon fans, jump in the chat. Tell us how you're feeling about this class and who your biggest target left on the board is.